Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The Utah Mammoth are in action tonight. They haven't played since they won big Saturday in L.A., 6-2, as they continue to be awesome in the road in the month of March. We'll see what April holds for them. March was pretty weird. We'll get into that with Jay Stevens here in a moment. But here they come down the home stretch, 8 games to go, 5 of them at home, 3 of them on the road. Normally that's the kind of breakdown you'd like, but the way they've been playing in March, they'd rather be on the road, PK. They've been much better on the road. We're joined now by Jay Stevens.
I'd rather be on the ice.
Of the, host of the podcast here covering the Mammoth on the KSL Sports Zone. He joins us on all the shows. Jay, good morning.
Good morning.
Jay, explain it to us like we're 5. Why in the month of March were they 6-2 on the road, and then they come home and they don't just lose, but it's mostly a disaster? For the month of March, I think it ends up being 1-6 at home. What? That doesn't make any sense. That's backwards from everything we know about sports. What's happened?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and I was thinking the same thing, and I started doing some research, and in the past 20 years, the overall home winning percentage for teams in the NHL is 54%, and then it drops to 52% during the playoffs. And that's over the last 20 years in the NHL. The other thing you have to look at is who Utah was playing at home with, Edmonton and Washington, and teams coming out of the East that are really good. And then you always get into that thing is, all right, do they have distractions at home? Are they not getting the same amount of rest because they have their families and other obligations? They got to mow the lawn and all that other stuff that seems to pop up, when you're at home. So I think those are true factors. It's a really weird thing to see. You would expect your team to always be better at home than they are on the road, but yeah, it just it wasn't in Utah's favor for the month of March. But the rest of the schedule going forward is in Utah's favor. They play 3 road games and they have 5 home games. So you hope those are the home games where the home ice advantage really kicks in.
How much do you believe in momentum going into the postseason? Because obviously the odds favor that the Mammoth make the postseason. They still got to get it done, but statistically they should. With that in mind, what do you think of momentum that you can gain at the end of the regular season playing well going into the postseason?
I think the momentum plays into it in a couple different ways. Yes, you want a little breathing room between you and the teams that are chasing you. That does help a little bit. But the other part of the momentum is the confidence that each of the players gets, especially, starting from goaltending out. If you've got a nice little winning streak and you feel like you're really starting to get into the groove, and there are times for goalies where they don't even see the puck, but it just hits them when they're playing through screens, and that just lets you know that you're in the right position and that you're doing the right things. And that momentum, that confidence really carries you into the first series where hopefully that's the one you can steal, is that the first round matchup, which right now statistically looks like it could be Anaheim. There's a chance it could be Edmonton, but you start feeling the confidence, you start using that momentum to, work on your power play. That is the one part of this, by the way, that we haven't really mentioned, is that the Utah power play has scored 7 goals in the last 10 games, and they're at about 20% in the last 10 games. They're at 14% over the course of the whole season. So it's all those little things start adding up. The power play starts playing better. The penalty kill is better. Your goaltending is better. Your defense is like clicking together and playing better. And then your forwards obviously start feeding off that and capitalize on those, the offensive chances they get. Because playoff hockey is real shutdown hockey. You're not going to get the same opportunities. So using that momentum, using that confidence building going into the playoffs is huge, especially for a young team like the Mammoth.
Jay Stevens joining us as Utah Mammoth counted down here to the end of the regular season. All of our Utah Mammoth interviews are brought to you by Hercules First Federal Credit Union, growing stronger together. It seems like it was just a couple weeks ago there were 3 teams in the Pacific Division separated by 1 point. You mentioned Anaheim's pulled in front here a little bit. How confident are you that Utah will finish in that first wild card, they will play the Pacific Division champ, and it will be Anaheim? What's the shakiest part of that equation?
Well, the shakiest part of that equation is how these other teams are all of a sudden starting to find that momentum as well. Edmonton is only 2 points out of that first spot. So you've got Anaheim doing well, you've got Edmonton doing well. Last night as we went to bed, Nashville was in that second wild card spot. All of a sudden, the LA Kings leapfrogged them. Now they're in that second playoff spot. They're 4 points behind Utah for the first wild card spot. So Utah really has to win half of their games to stay. I think that's about the magic right there. If they win 4 of the remaining 8 or 5 of the remaining 8, that really puts them in the driver's seat to control their own destiny. And then Anaheim really just needs to figure out. They've lost a couple games here. They lost the other night. So Edmonton and Anaheim, that's going to be a real battle. That's going to go right down probably to the last game to see who actually does clinch the Pacific.
So, Jay, I understand you touched a nerve by saying the Mammoth aren't physical enough, and you got some solutions. Tell us about it.
I did touch a nerve the other night when I said that on my show. I think I actually said it on the radio as well. I called them soft, and I don't mean that in a hugely negative way, but Utah has really leaned on being, they lean on their speed, they lean on their skill, and again, we're going to see in the playoffs how much more physical these games become. And sadly, my fix for it isn't a fix that we're going to see this season, but the Utah Mammoth have drafted some really big kids, and they've got a few kids in the system that they're probably going to make the team next year. And the first one is Cole Baudouin. He was Utah's first round pick right after Tidja Ginla. He's a phenomenal player. He's 6'2", 225. And then they also have a kid named Gabe Smith, who is actually on a line with Caleb Denoyer, our first round pick from last year for the Mammoth. And he's going to end up being a big steal for the Mammoth. He's a 5th round draft pick. He is a 6'4", 225-pound wrecking ball who loves to hit, loves to fight. He's mean when he's on the ice. He's the answer for what happened with Washington with Tom Wilson. So the Utah Mammoth are drafting bigger players, which you expect from Bill Armstrong. He was a bigger player. He was a menace when he was on the ice. So you're going to find Utah start to balance out. They have all the skill and the speed on their top 2 lines, and you're going to see some of these bigger kids coming into the next 2 seasons that are going to fill that physical and that meanness requirement that's needed to go deep in the playoffs.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on Carvana. Delivery fees may apply.
Yeah, you threw out soft. You had to anticipate. No matter what you meant, you had to anticipate there was going to be some pushback. You had to know that was coming. Now,
yeah.
Soft could mean. Are you talking? So, is it more size, or is it more mindset and mentality, and a willingness to throw your shoulder in there and blow somebody up?
Well, I'm going to have to go with both, and I don't. Maybe that's a cheating answer, but you need more size. Utah is one of the smallest teams. I think they average out to about 6'1", 195, and then you look at teams like Florida and Edmonton and Tampa Bay, and they average out more to the 6'2", 6'3", 220 across the whole team. So they're just bigger teams going into the playoffs. And then there's that meanness part to it. And we have some guys that just want to be skill, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to find, those other pieces that go in and can, when you start banging bodies, when you start checking everybody, every play, you see guys finishing checks. It's just like body blows in boxing. The longer you have a guy that finishes checks and makes it hard for Utah to play against, the more space those skill guys and those fast guys are going to have, because the other team just doesn't want to play against you. Right now, Utah is not hard to play against. There's not a lot of finishing their checks. There's a lot of really fun hockey to watch. So, I'm already trying to stop all the emails I'm going to get. They need the size. They need the meanness. Right now, what they have is skill and a lot of speed, which is fun to watch. But in the playoffs, you're going to need some meanness and some size. And Utah doesn't really have that right now. I mean, they do have two power forwards. They do have McBain. They do have Lawson Krause. You have Carcone, who will hit and fight anybody. And then you have Yamamoto coming in at 5'6", and he'll hit, or I think he's 5'9", and he'll hit anybody. And I think he'll fight anybody. But other than that, we really just don't have that mean streak in anybody.
And that, I believe, is the point you're making as far as the postseason and the difference between the regular season and the postseason is just in the very things that you've been talking about, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I interviewed Ian Cole last night, who has to be one of the unsung heroes for the Utah Mammoth for the last 2 years. And I was talking to Ian about, because, he has 2 Stanley Cups. He's gone deep in the playoffs several times. And I was asking him about what it takes. And he says what it takes is us making sure that the other team doesn't have any space. They don't have time. They can't think. We punish them at every opportunity. They have to be defensive-minded and shut everything down in the defensive zone and basically not allow pucks in the defensive zone. And that there is that worry that maybe you're not punishing anybody. You'll see a lot of times you'll see a defenseman chip the puck from the other team. They'll chip the puck back down into the zone, and the Utah forward will just curl back without finishing the check on that defenseman. That defenseman should be hit every time they touch the puck, and that includes inside our when Utah gets into the offensive zone. You can't let a defenseman just clear the puck without getting hit. Utah forwards have to hit those defensemen every time they touch the puck, and you're just not seeing that right now. But that does become playoff hockey.
Yeah, I can see where your answer about both matters, though, because the willingness to go out there and mix it up and, hey, I'll embrace another half dozen collisions, right? Whatever they look like, whatever body parts colliding, I'm going to get a piece of that guy, whatever it takes. It's easier to embrace that when you're 2 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier. Over the course of a game, that's a little more fun. It's a little more fun to beat up on the little guy than it is I'm going to go pick a fight with Goliath over there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And when you do get those bigger players in, they also kind of embrace that role too. And we did have somebody that was willing to fight, Tom Wilson, and we do have people that are willing to fight, but we don't have people that are going to win all those fights. Even Spicy Tuna, if you put him in the lineup, he's outmatched in a lot of physicality parts, and that's okay. Utah's doing great. They're going to make the playoffs. They've been fun to watch all year. But you do kind of want, you do want to add that spiciness to the roster. You do want to add that big guy that not only is he willing to fight, but he is going to take the fight to that whoever that person is, whether it's Tom Wilson. You're going to see some big boys coming out, especially if Utah makes it to a playoff series with Edmonton. Connor McDavid's a big boy. Draisaitl's a big boy. They've got Nurse on defense. They've got some big boys that Utah needs to contend with. Right now we have players that are willing to fight. We don't want Lawson Krause necessarily fighting. He's a real skill guy. That's the same thing with McBain. You're talking about guys that have got 20 goals and are scoring, and you want that guy that's just going to be a menace. We really want to see eventually a really good fourth line. Your fourth line is usually your big boys, your banging line. You send them out to crunch guys. And right now our fourth line is Kerfoot, Stenlund, and Tanev. I mean, Tanev and Kerfoot, they're not 6 feet. And I think, you add them together, you might get 300 pounds. So our fourth line is not a pounding line. But, Kerfoot is seeing some goals off that fourth line too. So there are some pluses to being fast, but we do need some meanness in this lineup.
So, Jay, we're just a couple of weeks away from them finishing their second season, right? And we've heard this love affair with the team and the fans compared to where they were at the end down in Arizona, and they're so excited to be playing before raucous fans and all. Has anybody spoke to them, or do they understand what it's going to be in the postseason here? Because I think the community will go crazy, particularly with the Jazz not having postseason for a number of years. That building, in terms of sports, has basically been dark once we get to April 15th until the following season. Well, not this year. So I'm expecting whatever they have seen these last almost 2 years will pale in comparison to the enthusiasm of the postseason that we'll see in this town. If it's anything like for a Jazz playoff game, which I suspect it will be, that it will be a lot rowdier. Have the guys been aware of that? Have they been talking about that at all?
Yeah, actually a lot yesterday. When I went into the locker room yesterday just to interview a couple of the players, and we brought, everybody was bringing up playoffs and this road trip and how much it means. And the guys get it. Especially the guys that have been in Arizona for the last few years, and like Clayton Keller and Schmaltz, those guys really get it. They really do appreciate it. That's the cool thing about these NHL players. They came into town and they felt really welcomed. And last year we talked about a little bit. They struggled at home, and it was almost because of that added pressure. And we even said, I said in one of my articles and on one of my shows, and Cole Bagley said it in one of his articles, that the Delta Center felt like this playoff intensity last year. Almost every game, there was so much anticipation, and you kind of felt that in the Delta Center. And, we got made fun of a little bit, but then other teams' media would come in and they'd say the same thing. It's like, yeah, this Delta Center has a different energy. And so the players get it. If they make the playoffs this year, which, again, statistically it looks like they're going to, and if they make the playoffs, that building is going to be unreal. The Utah fans are really absorbing it. You had a really good hockey base here, and then you have all these new fans too, and you've got just this love affair, like you said, with the team, where the Utah fans almost are willing this into existence. They're willing the team into the playoffs, and playoff intensity is just going to be unreal. I think the Delta Center is going to be one of the top 10 places in the NHL with intensity and fan excitement. And because, it is all new. And the fans are going to get that this is the first time they've been in the playoffs. And Arizona hasn't been in the playoffs for 100 years. So for some of these players, they're going to be grateful to be in the playoffs. And the fans have been so amazing. It really caught me off guard. And I've been one of the ones saying that the NHL could work here forever. But the Utah fan base has been way better than I ever could have even anticipated. So it's going to be crazy in the Delta Center.
What is the magic number to clinch that playoff berth? Is it 90? Is it a nice round number, or you got to fix somewhere else?
It's got to be 92. It's the last few years have proven that last wild card spot, or that even the first wild card spot, it's between 92 and 96 points. And with everything getting as close as it is, I'm going to say Utah really needs 92 points. And I think that's within their shot. I think they can get that. The schedule really does kind of favor them. They play Seattle tonight, which they should win. They play Vancouver on Saturday, which I don't know if you saw. Vancouver beat Colorado 8-6 last night, which blows my mind. So Utah can't go into Vancouver with the easy win mentality. They're going to have to come and actually bring it. Then Edmonton at home, Nashville at home, Carolina. Carolina's going to be a tough battle. So out of the remaining 8 games, I see 3 really tough battles for Utah. But then the rest of the games, as long as they come in with their A game and they play the game like they know they can play, they can get to that 92 points. It would be nice to see them beat Edmonton at home, and it'd be really nice to see them beat Carolina at home. But Carolina's just been playing lights out this season.
Well, Jay, we're getting texts. I can't unsee Dylan Gunther mowing the lawn. So if you accomplished nothing else, you have you've messed with some people mentally for the rest of the day. Good work.
Oh, well, I do what I can. I love to spike up that email chain,
There you go. Thanks, Jay. We appreciate it.
Good day, y'all.
There's Jay Stevens. You can check him out. He's got a podcast on the Mammoth, KSL Sports, and it's available at YouTube as well. And he joins all our shows, rotating through all of them. They're all available at YouTube, too. So if you want more hockey content, Jay is providing it for you on a regular basis. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're talking Final Four with Ken Pomeroy from KenPom.com at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.